I'm Liz Haywood-Sullivan. Thanks for joining me. Today we'll be exploring how the color of your paper impacts your pastel painting. I will be doing the exact same painting on both black and white grounds. We will discuss the differences between working on a sanded surface, which is this one here, versus working on a pastel paper surface. You will see the impact the background color has on the palette and the strength of the pigments you choose to use. We'll also discuss Albert's theory of color interaction and view some examples. And finally, we'll talk a little bit on how to evaluate your image to decide what color paper to work on. So, let's get started. Coming back to my simple shapes. As I start to do this, I'm starting to evaluate my image as I'm going along and saying, there is a light area in here that's better. You see that shape here and here. It's starting to pick that up a little bit better. And I also like this. This is a warmer, it's a brown, type of a brown gray, which really works very nicely with this orange glow that's happening down here. That's very good color for that. Let's go down into the sky. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a darker yellow, darker orange for the color and slowly build it up. But here we are in that situation where I think I might want to go even a little bit darker than that. I can always put the light on top, so I'm going to put, that's better. I'm going to put some of this orange in, not right around the sun necessarily, but in here, just to tone this a little bit. See, then I can go over this with, and it's still got some of that orange in there. It's got some great color to it. And actually, there's some of this color orange up here in these clouds as well. One thing I've discovered working with black paper is that when you put a dark on top of it, doesn't fill in, it leaves kind of a funky texture. And so what I'll oftentimes do is I'm now bringing in a piece of vine charcoal. And that tends to smooth it out a little bit. Also, what I will do with that is it's a blender. I will bring the purple, this is a dark eggplant purple, I will bring that up into this 1/8 of an inch space up above and start to create, see how that's a little bit smoother than it is over here. I'll start to create some of those tree tops. Now I don't tend to go sideways, trees move upwards, so I'm moving it up and down. I'll smooth that in. Now that color is very close to what I want coming down in here. So I'm going to start throwing a little bit, need a little bit darker. See if I can get that line of that river coming in here, making sure that it's straight. It's very graphic. It comes over in here. Now this, I'm going to draw some lines that are a little bit more broken because there are currents in here and I want the dark to be showing through and for it to be looking a little bit more like there's water in here. There's a bit of a highlight right in here. Get down in here, I'm going to get a little bit smaller brush And what I can do is I can start to give the impression of these marsh grasses coming and breaking that surface up a little bit. By the rough edge of this brush. This is not one of my rougher brushes, but you can see right there, it looks, look at those marsh grasses. I'm not going to have to draw that. It just makes me real happy. I'll move the clips at some point and fix those. Now let's get in here and get this edge real straight back here. See, I'm just picking up that pastel and moving it around just like you would with watercolor. I'm trying to be really straight with my line. It helps to stand up because you notice I'm moving like this. Notice very little movement in my shoulder and my arm. It's all in my knees and my hips and trying to get that straight line. Now I'll take this and I'll move it up into those clouds. See, I painted that color down in here first. That's the cloud bank in the background. By going like this on top of it, instead of drawing it this way, you can see I've already got these treetops, this ragged edge of treetops. Standing back, I need to carve up a little bit into this area here, get this lower area built up a little bit higher. This light area is a little bit bigger than what I had, so I can come up into here with some of this. The mark making on the sandpaper is very different than the mark making on the paper. I am able to bear down a little bit harder on this and can fill it in just a tad bit more, bringing this up to color and up to value. Gets a little bit. Remember, it got a little bit darker down towards the base here. So it came from lighter down to darker. And then also it got darker over on this area here. So I'm going to bring some more. It's a little bit darker in here. I love being able to carve out a cloud by just drawing the negative space around it. So all of a sudden, I just carved out a cloud. It's a lot of fun to do that stuff. Right through here, I'm going to carve a few more clouds out. There's another cloud. Carve up into this space a little bit. Okay, so I can still play with that a little bit. Actually, I want to, just correcting my drawing a little bit, I want to bring this up a little bit higher. Just go up in there like that. I like that better. This comes up a little bit higher.